Give all the mighty speakers a round of applause that came up today. Right? Give all yourselves a round of applause for the Most High waking us up and us being diligent to the Most High, right? Hey, we come here week in, week out, right, to wake our people up and let them know who they are based on the Bible. And if you did not know, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, right?
That's right.
Because the world have lied to us. They have told us that we are Spicks, right? That we're African American, right? That we're Native Americans, which is savage, right? But the Most High called us somebody that's greater than that.
Good. That's right.
Right, because we trying to let all our people know that we are greatness. The Most High have raised us up. According to Ezekiel, right, we're a exceedingly great army. Right, the Most High is going to use us as his battle axes as the time comes. Right, go ahead, bring that out, King.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel.
With the children of the world.
With the children of Israel.
With the children of Moab.
With the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
In the land of Moab.
Right, see, so the Most High gave this covenant to only make with the children of Israel. Right, so as you go through this lesson, we have to start understanding that if the Most High made a covenant with everybody, then everybody would be saved, right? He would love everybody. But why is it when you can go to different places of the Bible, he says, Israel I love, right? Only send out but unto the lost sheep of Israel. As you go through, you start to see scriptures like that, and it starts to differentiate who is Israel versus who is the world. Go ahead, bring that out, King.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 45. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel.
Unto the children of the world.
To the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
After they came forth out of Egypt.
Out of where?
Forth out of Egypt.
Right, so now we got to ask that question. Right, when the Most High told Moses to deliver a nation of people out of Egypt, who was that nation of people? Right, was it Moab that he said deliver from the nation, from the nation of Egypt? No. Was it Edom that he said deliver from the nation of Egypt? No. There was only one nation of people that he said to deliver from Egypt, and that was Israel. Right, so Israel was the nation that was given the judgments. Right, go ahead, King.
On this side, Jordan in the valley over against Bethabar.
Go ahead.
In the land of Shion.
You good. See, so he only gave Israel the covenants, right? So he only gave us the covenants. He only gave us the judgments. And he only gave us all the things that the Bible speaks of.
All right, this is the book of Lamentations, chapter 1 and verse 2. She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks.
Her tears on her cheeks. Go ahead.
Among all her lovers, she has none to comfort her.
Right, and these are going into all the gods that Israel has begun to start to worship, right? So no matter what God we began to cry to, there was no God that reverenced our prayers, right? Because there's only one God that hears our prayers. Go ahead, King.
All her friends have dealt treacherously with her.
And that's all the enemies, all the other nations. Go ahead.
They are become her enemies.
They have become what?
They are become her enemies.
Right, so if the Most High loved everybody, and that would be our brother and our sister, why are they our enemies? Right? These are the things you have to ask yourself. Go ahead, King.
Judah is going into captivity.
No, everybody is free.
Judah is going into captivity.
Go ahead.
Because of affliction.
Because of what?
Of affliction.
Because the Most High afflicted Judah, right? Go ahead.
And because of great servitude, she dwelleth among the heathen.
Go ahead.
She findeth no rest.
She findeth no rest because even now, if you start to look, do we find rest? Right? We're yet this day, according to Baruch 3 and 8, we're yet this day in our captivity.
That's right.
Right? So there's no rest for us.
That's right.
Right? No matter what you will work to the day of your death. Think about it. They've just rearranged your retirement. I think they just remade the new retirement age like 70. But if the Most High said that a man will only live to 70, then when are you going to retire?
Right. Come on.
You're going to retire in death.
That's
Go
right.
ahead, King.
That's right. That's right.
All her persecutors overtook her between the straits.
And let's think about that now. All the persecutor have overtook her in the straits, right?
That's right.
So we all got took, right? Go ahead, King.
The ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper, for the Lord has afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions.
Now think about that. He said the enemies have prospered, right? So if you go into Deuteronomy 28:68, it speaks upon the enemies, right? The enemies when we were captured and brought over here in slave ships. So think about it. They prospered. Go ahead, King.
Salakia. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy.
Right, cuz. So go ahead and bring that out, King.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 46.
Bring it out.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder
Right, and we're talking about the curses, right? Go ahead, King.
upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of them, for all them things, thou shalt serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, and hunger
And you should serve who?
thy enemy against. Let me start over. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against them, and hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and want of all things.
So think about it. We're in the land of our enemy, right? So do we or do we not serve them in want of all things? Right? There's nobody that I know that owns any convenience stores, right? We don't go grocery shopping at our neighbor just like we used to back in our ancient days, right? We were bartering. If I knew how to make garments, my brother Yahweh knew how to raise animals, right? I would say, hey, brother, I would take my garments and I say, I will clothe your whole family in exchange for you to feed my family, right? But there's no bartering anymore, right? So we're in this day in our captivity, so we have to work and want of food, clothing, water, and all things. Go ahead, King.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
See, and there was only one group of people that had a yoke of iron put around their neck, and that was the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Go ahead, King.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Right? And because we have destroyed, so now we're calling ourselves black, we're calling ourselves Native Americans, we're calling ourselves Hispanic or Latino descent. We are destroyed because we don't know as a nation who we are. Right? We don't know that we're Israel, the greatest people on this earth. Go ahead, King.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. So now we're starting to break down the nations that were sent against us, the enemy that was sent against us. Because if you start to do history, all the European countries in that facet, they all had the eagle representing their nation. That was their national bird, if you want to say. So if you even look now, you can look at all their nations and they still have that bird representing them. Go ahead, King.
As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
See, and now we can even break that down. Because even when it came to slavery, did they regard our elders? Right? They didn't care if you were elder. They didn't care if you could walk. You better bend over and do the work that was required of you. And then even if you go back and do even more research, you'll find that they used our children as gator bait. Right? When they were just doing their personal recreation of hunting. See, so they didn't have regard of the young nor of the old. Go ahead, King. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Is that 50?
Yeah, that was it.
All right, jump down to 68.
Jump it down to 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. There ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
See, and that goes back into Lamentations, right? That our enemies have come and seized our cities. Right? Go ahead, King.
Ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you.
All right, go ahead, bring your precept out, King.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 3.
Bring it out.
And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and so a girl for wine.
Go ahead, hey, start that back over, because see, that's one thing that a lot of people don't know, is that back in our slavery days, they used to sell our young men for harlots, right? They used to have sex because that's their natural tendencies, right? If you start looking into the history of Rome and the history of the Greeks, right? We call them the Greek freaks because they actually were into all of that homosexuality activity, Right? So that's what this scripture is talking about when he said that they have sent the young men for harlots. Go ahead, King.
Start from the top. Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yeah, what have ye do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Philistine, when ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into a temple, and my your temple, my goodly and pleasant things. And the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold to the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. And behold, I will rise them up of the place whether ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your head, your own head. And I will set your sons and your daughters unto the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it.
See, so the Lord has spoken it. So when you start to see all these captivities, right, and you start thinking that the so-called Europeans have done this, the Most High had done it due to the fact of the transgression of the law by the Israelites. That's right. Go ahead, bring your precept up, King.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 15. And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you.
Right, because when we spread forth our hands, this is the way that Israel has to pray, right? See, the world is always contradicting to the Most High's word, right? The Most High tell you to spread your hands out. The world teach you to put your hands together to pray. Everything is contradicting, right? The Most High said, hey, not a homosexual will make it in the kingdom, right? He will utterly destroy you. Death will be your recompense. But then the world say, oh, it's okay. Everybody needs love, right? So everything the world teaches you is contrary to the book. Go ahead, King.
And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yea, when ye make many prayers, I will not hear.
See, the Most High is not going to hear your prayers due to your transgressions. Go ahead, King.
Your hands are full of blood. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings before mine eyes cease to do evil. Verse 20. But if you refuse and rebel...
See, because we all know that the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we've always been a rebellious group. Right? Even to this day, our children don't want to listen to the parents. Right? We don't want to listen to our parents. We don't even want to listen to each other. We can see you doing wickedly and wrongly, and you will not want to listen. Go ahead, King.
Salaki. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword.
See, because everybody said that the Most High is love and caring. But he said you will be devoured with the sword if you want to be rebellious. Go ahead, King.
For the mouth of the Most High has spoken it.
No, them crazy dudes up there with the Bible and the microphone.
For the mouth of the Most High has spoken it.
See, in the mouth of the Most High has spoken it. Right? Because, see, your Christian churches and your evangelists, Seventh-day Adventists, and all these other different groups, they will not tell you about the things that the Most High will recompense on you, breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. Go ahead and bring that precept out, King.
This the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 3. Verse 5. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed.
And the glory of the who?
And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed.
Go ahead.
And all flesh shall see it together.
And all flesh shall see it together, right? So when the glory of the Most High, when he sends his son, YAHAWAH down with the world English called Jesus, right, when he comes down, every eye will see this revealing of his son coming to judge the world. Go ahead, King.
And all flesh shall see it together.
And see it together, right? Go ahead.
For the mouth of the Lord has spoken it.
No, the crazy dudes with the microphone.
For the mouth of the Lord has spoken it.
Go ahead.
And the voice said, cry. And he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field.
Right? See, so the Most High is just letting you know that everybody's going to see this, right? Because none is good that's down here on earth. Right? We don't do anything based upon the law, statutes, and commandments, which is the only thing that's good, right? Go ahead, bring your precept out, King.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 32, and verse 11.
Go ahead.
Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins.
Right, see, so the Most High wants you to humble yourselves before him, right? He wants you to be submissive to him. He wants you to honor him in the spirit and in truth, the way that he intended this thing from the beginning. Go ahead, King.
They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine.
Right, he wants you to be fruitful and deliver to him the things that he asks you, which is to go out on the Sabbath days, right, and all the days, and bring this word of truth to all his people. Go ahead, King.
Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars.
See, and that's what he's talking about, all the wickedness, right? All the wicked people that come and deliver this word, the doctrine of the Most High wrongly, right? As they give you this doctrine, and they give it to you, thus saith the world instead of thus saith the Most High. Go ahead, King.
Yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city, because the places shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left. The forts and towers shall be dens forever. A joy of wild asses.
A joy of what?
Wild asses.
Right? All the other heathens. Go ahead, King.
A pasture of flocks.
See? Yep, go ahead. Yep.
Verse 15. Until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest.
See, and Most High just saying because men are always reverence to trees, right? And a dead tree can bear no fruit. But the Most High is saying that he wants us to be as the forest. So that way we can be productive and produce great things for him. Go ahead, King.
Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness.
And then what?
Judgment shall dwell in the wilderness.
And this is for coming the second wilderness, right? When he judges us again. Go ahead, King.
And righteousness remain in the fruitful field. In the fruitful field. Verse 17. And the work of righteousness shall be peace.
Shall be what?
Shall be peace.
So it's going to be evil like the world.
Shall be peace.
In the world, the Most High said, and the joyousness of the reaping of the righteousness shall be peace. Go ahead, King.
And the effect of righteousness, quietness, and assurance forever.
Forever. Because the Most High is going to bring us a kingdom that's never going to cease ever again. Go ahead, King.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory.
Go ahead.
And before them shall be gathered all nations.
All what?
All nations.
See, and this is when he's going to come and judge this world, right? He's going to judge, he's going to gather all the nations, so everybody's going to see YAHWAH coming down. Right? Go ahead, King.
And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from that goat.
Go ahead.
And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left hand.
See, so he's going to call all his chosen people on his right hand, and all the other people in other nations on the left. Right. See, so contradicting to what the Christian churches tell you, right, that the Most High loves everybody. If he loves everybody, why is a good shepherd going to separate the earth?
Right.
Because he said he's going to gather all the nations of the earth together, and like a good shepherd, he's going to put his sheep onto one side and his goats onto the other. Go ahead, King.
And he shall set, then shall the king say unto them of him right hand, on his right hand, come, ye blessed of my Father, and inherit the kingdom prepared for you.
And inherit what?
Inherit the kingdom that's prepared for you.
Right, and inherit the kingdom that's prepared for you. Because it's not prepared for everybody. Go ahead, King.
From the foundation of the world.
From the what?
From the foundation of the world.
See, so that right there is a cut to the Most High loves everybody. Because see, if he loved everybody, then he wouldn't have said that this is the kingdom that was prepared for you from the foundations of the world. Can you give me this? Can you give me a precept on the book of Sirach, chapter 1, verse 14? Right, because see, we're going to break that thing down a little bit. Because if it was prepared for me from the foundation of the world, then why would he say this to Sirach? Go ahead, King. 1 and 14. Yep.
This is the book of Sirach.
That's it. Okay, all praise. All praise.
This is the book, Salaki. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 1, and verse 14, Salaki King. To fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Right? So to fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, right? So if you don't fear the Lord, you have no wisdom. Go ahead, King.
And it was created with the faithful in the womb.
And it was created when?
With the faithful in the womb.
See, so that goes back to what the King just brought out in Matthews, right? That he said that from the foundation of the world, his faithful was created. And it said the faithful was created from the womb, right? So that's a clear cut to let you know that the kingdom of the Most High is not for everybody, right? Go ahead and finish that out, King.
For I was in hunger, and you gave me meat.
What?
For I was in hunger, and you gave me meat.
Right, go ahead.
I was thirsty, and you gave me drink.
Go ahead.
I was a stranger, and you took me in.
Right, because you took the Most High into your heart, right? So even though you did not know because he was a stranger to you due to the different ways of the world, then you took him in. You all right, sister? You all right over there? I know.
What? Because you said so. Where are you? No, I'm not.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're going to go because we only got one more scripture. Yeah, go ahead and finish that ball.
Verse 36. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came into me.
And you were what?
I was in prison, and you came into me.
See, and that's just us saying that we were in a spiritual prison, right? Because spiritually being in prison, right, we don't know the Most High, and we didn't allow him to come into our life. Go ahead and bring out this last precept, and I'm going to let the next mighty speaker take the mic. Go ahead, King.
This is the Book of Esther, chapter 10 and verse 8.
Bring it out.
And the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews.
Right? So this is the nations that were assembled, which are all the nations that was not Israel, right? They came to destroy the name of the Jews, right? Which is Israel. Go ahead, King.
And my nation is this Israel.
No, every nation.
And my nation is this Israel.
No, it was Edom.
And my nation is this Israel.
Right? So he said, my nation was this of Israel, right? So it wasn't all the other nations. Right? Go ahead, King.
Which cried to the Most High and were saved.
And were what?
And were saved.
The other nations were saved.
And were saved.
So this particular nation, which was the nation of Israel, right, were the only ones that the Most High sent his son back to save. Go ahead, King.
For the Lord has saved his people.
He has saved all people.
His people.
No, all people.
His people.
Go ahead.
And the Lord has delivered us from all those evils.
All what evils?
Those evils.
Right, go ahead. Hey, hold that. Go ahead and bring that out, King.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21.
Bring it out.
And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name YAHAWAH. For he shall save his people from their sins.
But all people from their sins.
His people from their sins.
See, so it's a clear cut in this. Go ahead, King. Pick that back up.
I'm not gonna fucking bow down. You're not gonna fucking make me bow down.
Hey, we're not cussing like
Fuck
that.
you.
I'm sorry.
And fuck what Jesus. I'm all about that.
Verse 9.
Now,
Book of Esther, chapter 10 and verse 9. And my nation is this Israel, which cried to the Most High and were saved, for the Lord has saved his people.
Save all people.
His people.
Go ahead.
And the Lord has delivered us from all those evils. And God has wrought signs and great wonders which have not been done among the Gentiles.
See, because all these great signs and great wonders have never happened in front of the Gentiles, right? So the Most High is going to bring this sign in front of all the Gentiles, in front of all the nations.
That's right.
Right? Go ahead, King.
Verse 10. Therefore has he made 2 lots.
He had made 2 lots. Go ahead.
He made 2 lots. One for the people of God.
One for the people of God. Go ahead.
And another for all the Gentiles.
Go ahead.
And these 2 lots came at the hour and time and day of judgment.
Hey, brother, hey man, can you get our? Because we're trying to teach our nation.
You want her to be quiet? Do you have a microphone? We gotta get that one.
yeah, exactly.
You guys are here every weekend doing races. That's
We're
my
allowed
problem.
to fucking be here just like you're allowed to be here.
See, this is the same thing, right, that always happens. Right? When we come here to teach our people, you good. Hey, Dewad. Hey, Dewad.
You better not fucking
Dewad.
Nah, I don't need to go nowhere.
Just ignore him, man.
Go ahead and bring it out, King. Mark 4:4.
Nah, you want to be
This is the book of Mark 4:4. And it shall come to pass, as he showed. Some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up.
okay.
And some fell on the stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprung up because it had no depth of earth. But when the sun was up, it was scorched, and because it had no root, it was withered away.
We're not. I'm just asking the question. My
You're not
question
gonna
is,
circle around me like I'm gonna be fucking
nobody's
eating
saying around you.
all that shit.
Here's what I'm asking. You got cameras that's picking up your voice,
Good.
but we have a program right now.
Not
So
my problem.
it is our
It's
problem.
not my problem.
That's why I'm asking you. We can be quiet. Cool. If not, just go ahead and go.